to the real spiel. Listen, we're going to have a quick conversation today, 15 minutes of fun. The dictators have risen. The rise of the neo-dictator has taken place. Welcome, everybody, to the new age. Welcome to the brave new world where despots run the world. You know what? At one point in our life, many of us would have been like, you know what? I don't know how we're going to handle this. How are we going to do this? Being in a scenario where all of these despotic individuals are people that are running the earth. But it's, strangely enough, the world hasn't exploded. Nothing has blown up. We are still here. We are still able to function. We are still able to eat, drink, and things are still in a position where we have not been all taken away in chains, but we're not too far off. And it's very interesting when I'm watching. Let me break down the three beloved dictators of record right now. I mean, the Donald he's just doing things that we've never seen before in the so-called free world of America. Donald is eliminating the Department of Education. Now, to his credit, and I like to say, you know, on the record, that Donald 2.0 is much more sophisticated than Donald 1.0. I think that needs to be said. I think that needs to be understood. Like Donald 2.0, he's a machine, baby. He's a well-oiled machine. That brother knows exactly what he's doing. He's not confused. He's not disorganized. He has come for the jugular of society, and he is not pulling any punches whatsoever. Donald says we don't need no Department of Education. It is duplicitous. There's no need for it because most of the education is run by the state. Oh, this guy's right up my behind. Most of the education is run by the state. And since the education is run by the state, the federal departments of education are relatively duplicitous and are not required. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just get rid of that and save ourselves some money and let the states pay for it. In that context, you know, it makes at least some logistical sense what he's actually doing. But the thing is how he's doing it. He is effectively executive ordering the world away. He's executive ordering America, you know, back into the days of the pioneer. Very interesting. Moving on from Donald, because we can't spend too much time with Donald, because Donald's a whole show by himself. We have Vladimir Putin, Donald's right-hand man, Donald's guy. Vladimir is about to annex the Ukraine. We know this is going to happen. There's no more help for Ukraine. NATO is not backing Ukraine. NATO is not backing Ukraine because America is threatening NATO to pull out of NATO. And the Warsaw Pact really wasn't a thing. It was the Democrats that were effectively trying to infringe upon Russia. Donald is not going to infringe upon Russia. Donald is going to work with Russia. And working with Russia means getting Putin what he wants. We saw the posture of the meeting in the Oval Office with the Vice President, Vance, Zelensky, and Trump. We see where that's going already. Zelensky doesn't have anywhere to turn, and he might have to go back to comedy because the real dictators have risen up, and they're going to tell him where to sit, when to stand up, when to clap. That's going to be the Zelensky's future and the whole future of Ukraine. It's okay. Those guys are kissing cousins, right? The Ukraine's not been a country that long. It's okay. All those guys are family, baby. All those guys are family. I know there's some independent Ukrainians who are like, no, that's not funny. You know, we want our own sovereign nation. Well, you're going to have to fight for it yourself. Like everybody else. You have to fight for it yourself. Because America's not going to fight for it anymore. Americans going to hand you over to Putin on a slab. Okay? So Get used to it. That's going to be the new. That's going to be the new normal. You don't get mad at me. I'm not the person pulling all those strings. And Vladimir is going to have what he has on his side of the world. He's the king of the world on his side of the world, just like Donald's trying to be the king of the world on his side of the doggone world. And last but not least, the king of the Middle East is Netanyahu, Benny, right? Benny, again, under the puppet master Donald, is going to get what he wants, but he's got to sit down and take it. Not sit down and take the Riviera that's coming. I believe they've broken the ceasefire. Waiting for colonizers to not kill you has been the mistake of every indigenous population. The Native Americans, the Polynesians. It's been the mistake of every single solitary indigenous community that trusted colonizers to say, "Oh, we're not going to shoot you. Don't shoot us. We're not going to shoot you." No, man. Listen, the world isn't as dangerous though as we think it is. It really isn't as dangerous anymore as we think it is. Because quite frankly, the world runs better with dictators. It does. It runs better. Dictators, look at Trump. He's pushing through. There's no bureaucracy with a dictator. You just got to do what he says. Just basically got to do what he says and accept it. And what takes place when dictators get out of hand? Revolution. And somebody kills them, and then a new dictator takes over. You almost cannot tell me a nation taking away morality, ethics, and genocide, taking all that out of there, and not show me a nation that actually ran better with a dictator. I'm not going to say any names because you guys are going to freak out, but you go down the line and you look at all these dictators and look at how they ran their nation. And normally a dictator takes over when there is great upheaval taking place, and then the people say, "Please tell us what to do." It's taken place from the time of biblical antiquity, right? The people wanted a new king. They wanted a king. God gave Israel a king. They had Samuel. They didn't like Samuel's sons, and they said, "No, we want a king like everybody else." And that's what they did in America. They voted in a king, and they told you he was going to be a dictator. He told you. He didn't lie to you, and he's doing exactly what he told you. He told you all the things that he's going to wipe out, and he's doing it. Right? So you've got to understand the world you're living in. If you're running, I watched this amazing series. You might like it. It's called 1883, and the series is basically about these guys who are hired to take this Slavic German community, wink wink, across into Oregon, in the dangerous West. And these people showed up like sheep. They had no weapons, they had no guns, they had no capacity to live in the wilderness or help themselves. And they're saying, "Please help us, help us, help us, help us." And he said, "Well, you got to learn to fight. You got to be able to fight for what these people are going to kill you. They're going to rob you. They're going to drag you." "Well, that's not really our way." "Okay, well, most of them got killed. Most of them didn't make it. Because you got to know what world you're living in. You got to know what world you're living in, right? I'm over here in Canada. And in Canada, the colonizer of Canada is upset with the colonizer of America because the American colonizer, they're all cousins, said that we're going to come and make you the 51st state. And they expect me to be upset. I'm not upset. Why do I care which one of you colonizers runs the place? I just want to make sure that if a colonizer from America says he's going to come in here and run the place and say, "Well, I don't have to, I can now go work in Florida for that colonizer who pays me a little more money," no problem. I'm not a nationalist of a colonizer. That has nothing to do with me. That's why I don't care who takes place with Ukraine and Russia. I don't care which one of you colonizers organizes and win. I don't care. That's a tribal war. That has nothing to do with me. That's nothing to do with me. Bring up South Africa. Bring up Darfur. Bring up Congo. Bring up our people in Israel. Bring up the Hebrew Israelite in Israel. Bring those people up. Let's have a conversation about those people. But don't get me excited. Don't ask me to get excited. When I see two colonizers, cousins, having a little tribal squabble over who controls the countryside that they invaded. I don't care what y'all do with yourself. I'm upset that I got to go down to Florida for my vacation. I had a fantastic time. And I've got to spend money that's worth 69 cents. My dollar's worth 69 cents. I would love to have one of those colonizer dollars from the South that it could be worth a whole dollar. My vacation would have been a lot less expensive. So I'm not tied up and concerned with the rise of the dictator. The dictator, and this is where I was going with this from the very beginning, and this is going to hurt your feelings. Trump 2.0 is much better than Trump 1.0 for me. Trump 2.0 is fine with me. I don't even have a problem. I'm listening to some of the stuff you say. I'm like, you're going to dismantle the Department of Education? What has the colonizer ever done to educate black people? Nothing. Nothing. He's never done anything. You've told us lies, gave us portions of the Bible. You've rewritten history. You put your face on the face of prominent historical figures and said that was you and it wasn't you. You haven't educated anybody. You have misinformed everybody. I am pleased that you are dismantling your fictional departments of education. Pleased. I am absolutely pleased, because guess what? You haven't told us anything that was true. We've had to educate ourselves. There was laws against educating a slave. There was laws against causing slaves to know how to read. You've never been a participant in the education of my people. I don't give a good doggone if you're dismantling education, the Department of Education. And if we have an oral tradition and a written tradition. Imagine when you go look at a jazz musician, you go look at a blues musician of today. What ethnicity is he? He's a white man. He's a white man. Most of them are white men. Where did they get their craft from? They went to school. They went to Juilliard, or they went to someplace to learn something that black men gave it to them by us picking it up by ear. That's right. You get excited over Beethoven because Beethoven was deaf in one ear, and he learned to play as a little boy. We've been playing by ear. We've been singing without training without training. Everything that we have done has been by the innate ontology of the greatness that is within us, because you've never taught us anything. So we are not upset. I am not upset. I will not be upset that they have destroyed your Department of Education. It's implosion. It is implosion. It is crab in the barrel. You are eating your own young. You are destroying your own community because you have destroyed other communities. As the gentleman said, the great Malcolm X, the chickens have not just come home to roost. It's not chickens. With Malcolm, it was chickens. Now the eagles have come home to eat their own young. This is Del K. Brereton. This is the real spiel. The rise of the dictators is here. There's not much you're going to be able to do about it unless you're ready to be a dictator too.